Welcome to the Q's Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Q's Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Q's Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. The universal handle for the socials is at Q's Militia. Go there, join the militia. This is the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. So welcome, greetings, happy Sunday. Joe's going to put on his scouting hat this afternoon, and he is going to give you quick breakdowns of each of the 7 out of the last 10 recruits for 2020, and we already did 3 of them, and you can go back and listen to those, but we had 7 in a week, so it's time to get to those. But before we do all that, let me tell you about SeatGeek. SeatGeek is really cool. This is an app you can put on your phone, and what it's going to do, it's going to scan the web for you for the best deals on whatever tickets you're looking for, whether it be concerts, sporting events, Broadway shows, whatever. You type it in there, it'll scan the web for you, and it'll give you they'll break them up on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being the worst, 10 being the best, okay? So not only is it going to do that, but it'll also give you markings to let you know what kind of deal you're getting. A green dot, that makes a great deal. Yellow dot, that's a okay deal. And the red dot, that's a not so good deal. So you get the number rating and you get a color coordinated system. That's pretty awesome. So go there, use promo code ACAA at checkout and receive $20 off your first purchase. That's a couple free beers or a hot dog, or maybe 1 beer and 1 hot dog. Who knows? That's promo code ACAA at checkout. Get that $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek, life's an event, and we have the tickets. So, as always, if you listen, wherever you listen, if you could subscribe, that would be great. That really helps us out. What else helps us out is rate and review, especially on iTunes. Those help people find us when they're looking for Syracuse Sports Podcast, because we are the most rated Syracuse Sports Podcast on iTunes out of everybody. So thank you to everyone who has done that. Really appreciate it. And that includes all the big names, guys. That includes the big names, like those big names that I'm not going to mention. So, anyway, what the hell are you doing, man?
None. Just waiting for you to stop talking.
Oh, please.
Role reversal.
Yeah. So, before we get into the recruiting stuff, Ryan Alexander, he did make an official coming to Syracuse, a grad transfer. And, after losing Cody Conway and Coda Martin last year, I mean, he's going to be key to DeVito's success in the pocket. Inside the Loud House had a good little write-up on this, explaining it, if you want to go check that out. He's listed at 6'3", 307 pounds. He's mostly played right tackle, which is exactly where Coda Martin was playing for the Orange in 2018. So he does play left tackle. He has some experience there. But, and he was actually a star tight end in high school. Caught 40 balls for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that's a big that would be a huge tight end right there. So
he's a big guy. Got to college and figured out where he was going to fit in, bulked up. But that's a lot of what those big guys do. I mean, usually they're athletic, but they just have to put on the weight to play that position, bulk up, put on the muscle. So I'm glad he's finally here and it's official, because with those graduate transfers and stuff, it's kind of a nail biter all the way to the end.
Yeah, I mean, and just briefly, Joe, I mean, how important is that to shore up some of that offensive line with someone who's in his 5th year of college football and being able to maybe become a leader? We only get him for a year, but
yeah. Well, I mean, you look at that because he comes in as part of a recruiting class, but we only get him for 1 year. But as far as just this particular year, nothing to outdo or overdo or the other guys that are coming in. But this is probably the most important and impactful person that we have coming in this year for this season.
Yeah.
I'm not saying obviously and beyond, but we needed to do something like what we did with Coda Martin last year and shore up that line, especially, with DeVito taking the helm. We don't want this just to be, like Eric Dungy's first couple of years starting. We need to have that line so we can run the ball and we can keep him safe. And him coming is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome. We made it official, and
yes.
That's pretty awesome. So, all right, we're gonna do these recruits in order to how they committed. and they're going to join a couple of that have already committed: Marlo Wax, Sean Tucker, both running backs, and then defensive end Kevin Lemieux. So we'll start with Leon Lowry, okay, another defensive end, 6'4", 210 pounds. What do you think, Joe? He's gonna have to add some weight there, huh?
That's what this guy is. When you look at his tape, he's blocked multiple punts this year. He was very fast on the outside. You can see him. You can see the athleticism. He lined up on as wide receiver on offense and went out and caught jump balls and goal line situations and stuff. So he even play a little receiver, and now he's coming in, and they realize that the best position for him is defensive end. So this is just a matter of him being able to come in and just learn the system and put on weight, and then he'll just be ready to go. So I really, really was impressed with his athleticism. So I don't see him as somebody that is going to come in and really be a key contributor his first year. You never know with special team situations. But, yeah, when this kid bulks up, and he's got the athleticism to be a pretty solid defensive end.
He also had offers from Indiana, Rutgers, Temple, and Virginia Tech. He is rated 3 stars and 61st best weak side defensive end and the 28th best player in New Jersey in his class. So, yeah,
like I said, what I saw, he was really athletic. Again, playing receiver on offense, but also just a knack at making plays as far as, tipping passes and blocking punts and trying to knock that ball out when he gets to the quarterback. So, again, I think he's going to be a good one. Only time will tell, but he's got to put on a little bit of weight. But this type of athlete is definitely the type of guys that are going to help this line in the next couple of years.
The next one was Justin Barron. He's wide receiver, tight end, linebacker sometimes even. 6'4", 210 pounds. Pretty good size for any of those positions, as Inside Loudhouse notes. Offers from Boston College, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, and Virginia. And according to 247 Sports, he is a 3-star prospect as well. Yeah.
This guy, he can do it all, right? Swiss Army knife. But, like Syracuse.com talked about with offensive and defensive coaches, position coaches always arguing about what position he's going to play, who's going to get him. And I think that's just a really good thing. It's hard to say what he's obviously going to come in and actually play, if not multiple positions. But
what do you think?
Just to be able,
you think you're going to? What do you think? If you had to guess.
If I had to guess, I would probably say he'd end up bulking up and being a tight end. His prime position, he can get away with some things in high school, but his prime position is looking at this with linebacker and tight end. He's an athlete, but that tells me he's not a burner, or else that would say defensive back or safe or, wide receiver. But he's definitely an athlete, and I can see this kid bulking up and he got pretty good hands. I can see him being a pretty good tight end. But again, I think it's more or less going to go to what our needs are when the time comes, when he gets in there and he knows and he's ready to pull up to play. I think they're going to decide based upon our depth and what he can do.
He caught 34 passes for 581 yards and 4 touchdowns. According to MaxPreps.com, he had 35 tackles, 1 for a loss, a couple of interceptions, and 6 pass deflections for Suffield Academy in his junior year, heading into his senior year. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. Garth Barkley, 6'7", 250. He's rated 3 stars, and the number 156 offensive tackle in his cycle, according to 247 Sports. Offers also from Virginia, UConn, Bowling Green, Buffalo, Central Michigan, and Temple, among others.
Yeah, this guy, 6'7", 250, obviously
looks like he's straight out of Dazed and Confused.
If you look at his picture, he doesn't look like 6'7", 250.
He doesn't.
And 6'7", 250 isn't going to come in and get it done as a freshman. Most linemen don't come in as true freshmen and be ready to really contribute. They're just not. They're few and far between. Usually, you need to get the body right and put on some muscle and some weight. And that's what this kid needs to do. He is. I'm assuming that I'm going to trust the coaches and say that he's a guy that fits good for their system. He seems to be a pretty athletic guy. So maybe that's why they chose to offer him a scholarship. But again, it's just one of those things where he comes in and you kind of wait and see, because he's going to have to put on more weight than 250 to be able to come in and contribute. So, but again, a 3-star, and like I said, I'm always going to trust the coaches and the fact that they are going for their guys. So.
The fourth one to commit as of last week was James Williams. We talked about James Williams in the last episode. He's rated 5 stars by Cole's Kicking, number 5 punter in the cycle, and number 12 kicker. And, of course, when he comes here, he's probably going to immediately replace Hofrichter in 2020. So anything you want to add on him? We talked a little bit about him.
The one thing I did like was one of his quotes about, like, I think you might have read it about when we talked about it, but that he talked about how he thought Syracuse is on the rise, and, that's...
Yeah, he said, I chose Syracuse because its football program is on the rise with Dino Babers leading the team.
Right.
That was his quote.
Yeah, and not every kicker gets a scholarship offer like that. I mean, you look at Schmidt and a lot of these other kickers that we've had in the past, field goal kickers, a lot of times they just, coaches try to get them on campus, and then usually, if they're good enough, then they offer them a scholarship like Andre Schmidt last year. But, we recruited Hofrichter very similar to James Williams. Hofrichter was, I believe, ranked in the top 10 or top 12 in both kicker and punter as well. So it's a very similar guy. And obviously it just comes with the cycles. We need a new punter, and this is the best available. And again, like you said, by Cole's Kicking, he was rated a 5-star. So like I said, I'll take that, because I don't mind wasting a scholarship on a kicker when your special teams has been as good as it's been the past couple of years. So let's keep that up.
Arguably, obviously, I think special teams was a huge key last year to 10 wins. 10 wins. So. Less
than 4 years ago, I was so afraid that like every kickoff or punt was going to get returned, or every time we were going to punt it and the other team had a decent returner, I was very nervous because we'd given up so many big plays like that. Or is the kicker going to make the field goal? And last year was the first time
we had a couple muffed punts too. Remember? There was a couple muffed punts. One against Louisville, if I remember right. I think there was another one. But, yeah, special teams is huge, especially in college. And plus, like we've said, when you look at special teams, your special teams is good. Those are the guys that are they're going to be moving into roles in the future. And you can see how athletic it is, and it just sets the stage for things to come. The fifth one to commit that 1 week was 1 week, really. Stephen Thompson, linebacker. He was the first linebacker of 2020, 6 foot, 222 pounds. Scholarships from Appalachian State, Colorado State, Marshall, and Wisconsin. He's a 3-star. He's listed 74th best inside linebacker and 77th best player in North Carolina by 247 Sports.
Yeah. This guy, when you watch his tape, it's just, honestly, it kind of reminds me of Zaire Franklin a little bit. He just plays so mean. So he's just, every time he hits somebody or fills that lane, like he's trying to, make a play. He's trying to make that person feel it. And he is very good at filling in the passing lanes. I saw a lot of the zone looking like cover 2 defense on some of his plays. And he was reading those slants, and he was seemed like pretty good on the pass side as well. And also he has a real like knack for the ball. Every single time he has a chance to, it seems like he doesn't miss tackles trying to do it, but whenever there's an opportunity to try to, he's got this one, he comes through and tries to punch the ball like out from behind him, like the runner with the ball. And so many times he was creating plays, creating turnovers. And that was the one thing that I really liked about his tape, was that he was pretty sure, steady tackler. He's already pretty big, and he's already pretty aggressive and intense when he fills that hole. This is a guy that I can definitely see coming in and helping out special teams right away. I don't know if he'll be able to come in and kind of uphinge some of the guys that we are going to have there, but he's definitely the type of player that we need, that we'd like to see coming through. And I think he's going to fit in perfectly, man. I really do.
Yeah, that's awesome. We got 2 more. But before we get to those last 2, we are going to have to hear from the folks over at MyBookie. Now, summer, I think we can all agree it is the best time of year. We're taking vacations, we're going to the beach, lots of sun, and of course sports. So while you're sipping on your favorite beverage by the pool or at the beach, why not get in a little action on the game? Whether you like MLB, MMA, golf, or anything else, MyBookie is the place to bet. Their mobile site is easy to use and allows you to make bets from anywhere. No hassle, no waiting in line, no need to get off the couch or the beach. Now is the perfect time to replenish your bank account after vacation and make sure you've got plenty of bankroll come football season. Maybe you want to bet in futures. There's all the futures for the NBA, even the going into the NFL. What player out of college is going to get the Heisman Trophy? All that stuff's already set up for you. So MyBookie wants you to have as much fun as possible this summer. And what's more fun than winning money while you watch sports? I don't know. I can't think of anything. Can you, Joe? Can you? No, you do it all the time.
I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Joe does this as a pastime. So just visit mybookie.ag today to get started and try your luck at outsmarting the odd makers. But wait, if you deposit now using the promo code CUES25, MyBookie will give you 50% deposit bonus. That's promo code CUES25 at MyBookie. You play, you win, you get paid. Okay, so the sixth guy here was the first DB of 2020, Robert Hanna, 6 foot 170. He's rated 3 stars by 247 Sports. He also had scholarships from Boston College, Rutgers, Pitt, Louisville, Miami, North Carolina, Maryland, Washington State, UCF, South Florida, Liberty Bowling Green, and Florida Atlantic. So, also, on a side note, he's from Miami Palmetto High School, where Cornelius Nunn is from. Also, they're hoping to get another guy out of the same high school, wide receiver Kentron Poitier. So keep your eye on that. They both actually visited the campus at the same time, but Hannah pulled the trigger. So, what do you think, Joe?
You took the words right out of exactly what I'm going to talk about. But yeah, it's being able to get some type of, same kids coming from the same schools in a place like Miami like that. He had a really, really impressive offer sheet. That receiver that you're talking about, he has a really, really impressive offer sheet. I mean, he's been offered by Oregon and Alabama. Cornelius Nunn last year was one of our highest recruits that we had gotten as far as rankings, and he's expected to come in and help this year. So, whenever you can get some type of pipeline, or so you can get some type of high school, or an area that can trust coaches like this, and you can bring players in. I mean, a place like Miami is great. And I watched the kid's tape. I think he does need to put on a little bit of weight, but he's quick, he's fast, he was always up into like almost a line of scrimmage. He was very coming up and attacking the run very well at that. So I can see why we're going after this kid. Reminds me a little bit of Evan Foster. I think he's a little bit faster, and obviously he's got to get bigger, but he can come in and he's definitely very, very good at helping protect the run, and also, he's pretty good at the pass coverage as well. So being able to get a kid like this, again, he might be able to come in and help with special teams, but he needs to put on a little bit of weight before he can come in and really, really contribute on defense. But, I mean, again, it's just one of these guys, these 3 stars, where most of the time the talent's there. They just need to bulk up their bodies. Yeah, and we got a whole nother year, So,
yeah.
And like, again, I really hope that landing this kid helps with getting this receiver. Obviously, this other receiver is got other offers to think about, but that would be really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. The last but not least, the latest commit that we had here is Charles Bell. He's a safety, and he's rated 3 stars and the number 74 safety this cycle by 247 Sports. And he made his decision during an official visit that started last Thursday, not this past Thursday, but the one before. 5'11", 195 pounds. And he was actually offered in January, and he visited during the spring. He also had offers from Maryland, Boston College, Pitt, Virginia Tech, Liberty, East Carolina, and others. So Another DB shoring up that backfield on the defense. So, what'd you like?
This ironically, and again, we did this in order of how they verbally committed, but ironically, that he was my favorite tape that I saw.
Really?
This kid is. I mean, you watch him go up and he's pressing the receivers and just man-to-man coverage. He was good. Zone coverage. He was good. He was coming up and he was pressing tight ends and he was lining up on the end of like the defensive end on the line and coming in and he was so good at protecting the run and sure tackler. And I mean, he was all over the place on this defense. He was also a punt returner and he had a lot of very good plays. It seems like he has a knack for the ball. And this kid is he's mean. I mean, I'm not saying it as far as like, oh, there's a mean kid. I'm saying on the field, he is mean. I mean, you can see it. This is a kid, again, it's a little bit different because that Robert Hanna, 6 foot 170. This kid's already 105 pounds, and you can see the difference on tape. And he was my favorite tape, and I think that he looks a little under. To me, he looks like somebody that can come in and immediately help and play. So. I was highly impressed with him.
Some solid DBs just in this recruiting cycle so far. So
yeah, Oh yeah, I mean you can tell it's just that they're exactly the type of DBs that Babers wants. The physical ones at the line that can play man-to-man coverage, but also come up and can really be a sure tackler and help with the run too. So. And this kid, too, also very smart, heady. He was baiting quarterbacks into throwing balls and then getting interceptions. He was playing options and different things very well as far as he was always doing what he was supposed to do. He wasn't just going out there and trying to make, the best play. He was doing his coverage, doing his assignments. And, I mean, this kid, he excited me. When I saw his tape, it excited me. So right now, he's been my favorite. And, I mean, obviously you never know, but from what I saw, man, I was excited about this kid.
Yeah. So that's it. I'm glad we could get them all in. I thought we were going to have to do this in a couple different episodes.
No. Well, I mean,
it just depends on how deep you want to go.
You can always obviously decommit, right? And obviously it's non-binding, but when you get 7 commits in a 7 to 9 day period, you got to do an episode about it.
The earliest we'll find out. Whether or not they're going to commit for sure or not would be the early signing period, December 18th through 20th. And the National Signing Day, obviously, is not until February 2020. So that would be, the latest. Well, I guess wouldn't be the latest, but it'd be likely the latest. So
right. And we got all those signees, and you go and you look, and we really didn't tip the scale too much or do anything too much with our overall recruiting ranking and everything. But again, I've talked to you about this, and we've talked about it before too. I'm not really worried about those rankings. I mean, obviously you get 4 or 5 star guys. Either. Those guys are ranked because they're closer to being able to help early. But these 3-star guys, I mean, most guys need time to develop, need time to learn the system, and you got to get guys that are for your system. Not every player fits in every system, and I just looking at the tapes. I trust the coaches. I trust Babers, and looking at the tapes, it looks like they look like guys that we've been trying to get and guys that we have and what Babers is trying to do. So I trust in this in the faith without evidence, like he told us.
Yeah.
Belief without evidence.
Yeah, belief without evidence, yeah. So, all right, well, that's it, I guess. Not a ton of other news. We're hoping to get some Boeheim's Army news for this episode. I thought they got the votes to add that other player. I thought that maybe we'd heard something about that, but I guess that hasn't been finalized, obviously. Otherwise, we've heard something. So, hopefully by the next episode, we will hear something. By the way, if you want to check out any of the recruits, I would go to Inside the Lighthouse, okay, obviously. They have, every player has their own piece, and it's a breakdown of what they are, what they're about. and then it's film, and all their videos are right there, and then there's a write-up on the film too as well. So, and then opinion after that. So for, take time to do that if you want to learn a little bit more about them. They got kind of a perfect outline over there to do that.
Right.
So, anyways, that's all I got. Joe, you got anything?
I'm all set, buddy.
All right. Well, I would like to thank SeatGeek, MyBookie, Armchair All-Americans, obviously, James on guitar. Thanks to all of you for listening. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Thanks for listening to the Q's Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.